Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to the Q&A session of Slit Bashaway 2023, organized by the Slit Fast community. So I'm your host, Sairo Bopitia, and it's so great to see so many participants in the YouTube live stream. So before I hand over control to main chief Akalanka Pereira, I would like to give you an overview of Sid Bashaway. So for those who did not attend to our awareness session, Bashaway is a challenge-driven competition which is aimed at undergraduate students, which is designed to showcase their automation and scripting skills, and participants are presented with several real world problems, so you should find real world solutions to them using languages such as bash and python, etc. So this year, this is our second edition of Bashaway, and the previous edition of Bashaway, which was held last year, had over 50 registered teams across 15 universities. So this year we have been able to double these numbers, and up to now we have 312 participants in 102 teams across 17 universities. So that's a huge number, and numbers speak volumes. So this is just up to now. So the deadline of team registrations is today at midnight. So if there are any uh, undergraduates who are interested in Bashaway in participating in this competition, please uh, feel free to spread this message to them so that they can also register and join with Slit Bashaway 2023. So yes, now before now I would like to actually hand over control to Akalanka Pereira to take you through the platform and give you guys a demo of what you are supposed to do on the event day. Over to you, Akalanka.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay. Let me share my screen and let's get started right away. All right. I hope my screen is visible. So first off, let me give you a glimpse into what you're actually walking into. So the stats which Sari mentioned, they're here and they're right before your eyes. And before we actually move on, let me actually mention you the purpose of having a Q&A session. So I'm pretty sure that most of you have quite a lot of questions in mind, and this is the time for you to raise them. And if you know of anyone who is not yet who hasn't yet joined this session today, just say the word to them, because if you miss this session, it's going to be a tough time for you on the 7th. So because I'll be covering quite a lot of concepts in this platform, and a couple of tips as well which you'll need, which I'm pretty sure that you might need on the 7th. So now let me actually do what most of you might have been waiting for. So we said that we'll be opening the platform to a test round on the 5th, and I'll be doing it right now. So let me just go here, and there are 4 questions which have been prepared. Don't judge them by the difficulty. They are not the actual, you can't like say that this is actual level of difficulty which will be coming on the 7th and on the second rounds. These are just sample questions, but there'll be enough for you to have a quick glance into what is upcoming for you. So let me just enable this. That's 2 done, and third. And the 4th. So if we move on, let me actually log in with a normal team accounts so that we could go in the same flow as you'll be going. All right. So first things first, you might be wondering, what is this team? So this team, it will not be participating in the competition. This is just a mock team which has been registered first, just in case if anything goes haywire, just to make sure that everything is okay. So Team Runtime Terra will not be participating. It's just there for analytical purposes. So this is a leaderboard. I'm pretty sure you must have seen this already by now. Let me just log out. And before you actually move on, I'm pretty sure that at least a dozen teams might be forgetting that you might forget the initial password which you registered with. So if that's the case, you have the option to reset it. So make use of it and don't get blocked on the 7th. Let me log back in. Switch this back. Okay. All right. So coming to this, this is the view which you'll be getting as soon as the questions will be published. So on the 7th, we'll be releasing around, let's say 10:15. Maybe the number hasn't decided yet. A couple of questions will be released and they'll all be visible over here. And as soon as you see this page, you'll be able to see these 4 colors. And I think Dinal mentioned this in the last session, but I will just go them once quickly. So red and green. Green is the easiest. Red, there are 2 separations of red. It could be either extreme or it could be hard. And blue is medium. So coming to the points, these points are pretty much predefined. So easy won't be going over 25, medium will be 50, hard will be 75, and extreme will be 200. There can be certain occasions where this number might change. So if there's a question which may be like, if it is like the same extremely difficult, it might even go 200. So based on these points, you might be wondering like easy is 25 and extreme is 200. That's quite a gap. So my advice is, if you feel that extreme question is within your limits, if you are able to solve it, then go for it, because I'd say it's much more advantageous than going and solving a couple of easy questions. So it's up to you, but it's available for the peak. So coming back over here. So all 4 of you, if there are 4 members in your team, or if there are multiple members in your team, you'll be logging in with the same account. And if that's the case, you will need to like maintain a proper map as to like who's working on which question, to avoid multiple members working on the same questions. And to reduce that effect to a certain extent, we have this indicator over here. So if this is a cross, it means that no one has submitted this question yet. And if it is a tick, it means that someone has submitted it. But keep in mind, it doesn't mean that the submission, it has gotten marks. It just means that someone has submitted it from your team. Okay. So I'll walk you through on the entire flow of how we could go into question, make a submission, and I'll be covering also a few concepts of Docker and GitHub Actions, which you might be wondering, like, how do they actually integrate into Bashaway 2023? Okay, so moving on. Let me just pick the easiest one out of the 4. I won't be going into this. These 3 actually like quite easy. This one is a little bit difficult, but this will take time to solve. Okay, so as soon as you come over here, you'll be able to see how many teams have submitted this. So keep this as an indicator, like, so say that a high number of submissions are there for a certain question, it means that that question is really easy. And that's your cue to like start working on it and gain some points. Okay, so once you see this, just make sure that you read this quite carefully. These questions will be tricky, much trickier than what you see over here. And if you by any chance don't understand this, just make sure that you read at least the output, because this will mention like what are the exact criteria which will be checking and what you'll be graded against. Okay, so these constraints, they can vary. They can have like 4 or 5 constraints, certain questions, and you need to make sure that your submissions are within those constraints. Just give me a minute. Okay, very sorry about that. Okay. Let me go back in. All right. Now you can see three buttons over here. So obviously I don't need to go this. You just download the code base and you'll be getting something like this. So as soon as I go over here, let me just get this over here and let me extract it. So the format of these questions, they'll be the same. They won't differ. And I'll walk you through on how you could actually run the tests against this. And okay. All right. So this is a sample code base which you'll be working with. And this one question which you might have is that how are these solutions graded, and what about the test cases? So if you go over here, there's a folder known as test, and within a file known as index.test.js, all of the test cases which will be running against your solution will be there. So yes, 100% of the test cases will be available, and you can test them out locally. And keep in mind, like, if you pass them, then yes, you will be getting those marks. So there are no hidden test cases in this case. As soon as you come over here, make sure that if you are very confident about your answer, if you don't need to actually run your tests locally, then you don't need to follow this process. But if you do need to test them out, make sure that you install the dependencies, because there are a couple of node dependencies which are required for the purpose. So this entire process is running upon node. Yeah. So just run a pnpm install. So pnpm is a package manager, for those of you who do not know. It's not required. You could get the job done with other package managers like npm and yarn, but I recommend pnpm, like I told last time, because it is what will be used in the runners once the tests are being marked. So try and use it as much as possible. Okay, so now the question we had over here. So if you read this carefully, it says bestow the sacred X upon a file known as mutatex dwelling within the src directory. So if I go back over here, there is a mutatex.txt within src, and what you're basically being asked is copy it into a directory known as out, and while we copy it, just add an X to the end of the file name. Okay. So if we do this, it's quite an easy solution. cp src to out text.txt. Okay. And we might need to create the directory before we do this. And here we go. So now, since I'm running Windows, I'm guessing that most of the participants will be using a Linux machine. But as you can see, I'm on Windows. And if I actually try and run this, it pretty much will not work. Yeah, because these are Linux commands. So what I can do is, if I have Git installed, which I recommend that you should do, because it'll be easier for you to work in a team rather than just cloning it and working on things individually. So first thing, as soon as you clone the solutions, get them into a repository and make sure that you work within that repository. And I'll show you one more advantage of working with a repository in a while. Okay. So if you have Git installed, Git has something called Git Bash by default, and you could just switch over there, and everything will not work, which normally works in an Ubuntu system, but a couple of things will work. Okay, so we could go ahead and run it over here, and if you have a Windows subsystem for Linux installed on your machine, then you could use that as well. And obviously, if you are on a Linux machine, you don't need to worry about this. Okay, so now, since I installed my dependencies, what I could do is, first things first, while the tests are being executed, your execute.sh file, which we have over here, it will be executed first, and then only the test will be run. So if I mock that process over here, it will be something like this. Execute.sh, this will be executed first, and after that, test will be run. Okay, so that's basically the basic gist of it and how you could actually get started. So when you run these tests and when you once you come across the solutions, you need to make sure that each of these tests, they have time constraints. And how do I say this? Let me actually see if there are any questions. Okay, why the questions are like Shakespearean. That's basically to make things a little bit interesting, and everything will be like that. And make sure that you pay attention to them and read them carefully. Actually, otherwise you'll be in for quite a spin. Okay, what else do you have? Looking at. All right, nothing much as of now. So if you have anything, just feel free to mention. Sorry, I wasn't keeping an eye on chat. All right. So now what I was saying, there are time constraints on the tests, and there are two types of constraints. And the first thing which you need to be worried about is the individual constraints for each test. So if you come over here, these tests are broken into like different blocks, and each of these blocks, which each of these test blocks, they're limited to a time of 5 seconds by default. So this 5 seconds, it will be extended in certain questions. So if there are any questions like where the solution will be taking a little bit of time, then obviously we have extended the time duration for those, but the default will be 5 seconds, and make sure that they pass within the time frame. And if they don't, then obviously it'll be sad for you. All right, so that's the constraint number one. And the second constraint, show it as soon as I make this submission and when it's actually graded in the platform. So now since the solution is ready, we could actually get this and we could actually submit it back to the platform. So how we do is basically this entire folder, make sure that we put it inside a zip folder, and make sure that you exclude the dependencies. Whatever dependencies you install, do not include them because they'll be automatically installed back once the tests are on. So node modules, we don't need this. And excluding that, let me just get this and let me just add this to zip archive. Okay. So what was the question? Mutate text solution. And make sure that the format is only zip, because that's the only format which you're allowing as of now. If you use any other formats, then the workflow will fail. All right, so now since we have this solution, what I could do is, it's simple as clicking on this, and where was it? In desktop, question, mutate text solution. Okay, submission is successfully. So now let me actually show you something. Let me see if I have access to that email. Okay, till it comes, let me come over here. So as soon as you have this page, you'll be able to have you'll be seeing a button known as view results. Okay, so if you click on this, you'll be redirected to the entire test execution workflow, and you'll be able to see in detail like the logs of the tests being run, and if the tests fail, why they're failing, what test case is not being passed. All of that is visible inside over here. And along with that, you'll be getting an email to the team email which you registered with, and with this you'll be able to access the workflow as well. So there are two ways, either this or either access it through the platform. So even this, it will be redirecting to the same link. So this entire platform is open source. Just make sure keep in mind of that as well. Okay, so now if I go inside this, I'll show you like the entire process of how the workflow is executed. So don't worry about this. Email workflow is your URL. That's pretty much how we got that email which we saw a while ago. So as soon as we go down, so the things which you need to be worried about is this, and this. Okay. So execute task script. This is where the execute.sh file, which we made the modification to earlier, it will be executed within the step. And certain tests, they will have the test cases provided with the question itself, but certain questions, they will have the test cases provided with the question itself, but certain questions, the test cases will be generated on the go. So which means that if I run pnpm test, the test will be generated at that point of time, and there will be no input files for you to work with. So when you're writing your solution within the execute.sh file, you need to make sure that even if there are no test cases, even if there are no input files, your script should not crash, because if it crashes, then this workflow will fail and you will not be getting any marks. So your the execution of your script will happen over here, and after this we'll be running the tests. And if you expand this, you'll be able to see the how many of those test cases which are have passed, and if they fail, how many of them will fail. Okay, and if this passes, then only your score will be updated. And coming back to the scores, there are no partial scoring in this case. In last year's edition of Bashaway, there was the concept of half marking and partial scoring, but this time it will be like full marks. And if the question is 25, then if the test pass, you'll be getting 25, no more, no less. So make sure that you're quite careful in writing the solutions. And what else can we have? Okay, so remember that I mentioned that there are two time constraints on this testing. So the first one was the test level time constraint, and the second one is this workflow level time constraint. So GitHub Actions, just to give you a small idea, it usually it doesn't have much of a limit. Like we could actually run them for even, I think it was around 24 plus hours a test could be run, but in this case we have limited it to 5 minutes to prevent the runners from being spammed. And you need to make sure that whatever you do, this workflow execution time stays within 5 minutes, so 38 seconds. So 38 seconds actually, it includes the time which takes for the runner to be set up. So actually it will be around 20 seconds if you reduce that time, but you need to make sure that it doesn't go around 5 minutes. So maximum 5 minutes 30 seconds, it will be around it coming with the time which it takes for the runners to be set up. Okay, so make sure that this stays within 5 minutes. And the other thing is that the total number of tests which can be executed concurrently are limited to 20 as of now. So if there are quite a lot of submissions at the same time, then you might need to wait a little. So be patient. Don't make multiple submissions at the same time hoping that one will pass. So wait for a submission to finish executing before you actually make another submission. And one more thing, when you make submissions, you're limited to 25 megabytes. You can't upload huge gigabytes of files. 25 megabytes are more than enough for the questions which you have and for the solutions which you might need. So that's that. What else do we have? And let me just go over to the leaderboard and see if it updated. It should have updated by now. Okay, so runtime terror, and I'll be getting these marks. And when it comes to scoring, you need to make sure that obviously the highest points, they'll be coming to the top. And just in case if there's a tie, if there are two teams with the same amount of points, then the team which made the submission first, then that team will be on the top. So imagine that I made this submission right now. So imagine that another team makes the same submission maybe around in 5 minutes, and then both of us have 25 marks. But still, runtime terror will be on top because the submission time of this was before the new team. Okay, so keep in mind of that. What else do we have? Okay, all right. So in the actual competition, the competition will be 6 hours, the initial round. So maybe around, we haven't decided time yet, it will be maybe around after 5 minutes, 5 hours and 30 minutes, we'll be freezing the leaderboard. So let me just quickly show you a glance on how it look once it is freezed. So this is just so that you don't panic. This is actually normal. And if I reload this, you'll be seeing something like this. So this the number of places which are being freezed, that also will be deciding. It's not decided yet. It could be 3 or it could be 10, it could be 20. The number can change. But anyways, what I'm saying is you won't be able to see the teams and you won't be able to see the marks once the leaderboard has been freezed, and it will be revealed only after the round has ended. So let me just go and unfreeze this. Okay, so what else do we have to cover? Let me rack my brain. Yes, so once the round ends, this submission button will be disabled. So let me just actually show you how it will be a situation as well, just so that you don't panic. If you see something like this, then it's normal. That means that you cannot make any submissions anymore. Okay, so let me just go and enable this once, and we are back. All right, so let me see, what else did I miss? Okay, so remember that I told you do not spam the runners. And one thing to be mentioned is that if in case that someone does it, like if a team engages in any misconduct of any sort, we have the right to disable the account of that team. And if that happens, then you will no longer be able to participate or use this platform. So make sure that you stay within the rules and regulations, and make sure that you enjoy the system to the fullest, and make sure that you enjoy the competition. Okay, so now moving on, I think we don't have much left to discuss, but remember that I told you that I'll be showing you like how exactly Docker and how GitHub Actions might be useful to you. Not actually GitHub Actions, I actually covered GitHub Actions. You won't be asked to write any YAML files or anything in this scenario. You just need to make sure that whatever you write, it will be running within a GitHub Actions runner, and that runner will be Ubuntu. So whatever you write, you need to make sure that it is compatible with Ubuntu, and I think you get the point. So that's actually it for GitHub Actions, but I'll be covering something else which you could use in GitHub. So now there are certain things like certain questions where you need to install certain third-party external libraries, and if like you don't want to pollute your system with those third-party libraries, then there are a couple of steps which you could follow. Like first things, if you're familiar with Docker has something called dev containers, dev environments, and it's something which you could use. And let me just actually show you like a demo of it. Let me create a new folder, and imagine that, let me just copy over this entire thing, or rather let me just actually, we don't need to create this folder. This was away workspace. So what I could do is, if I actually like say that if I wanted to install a library using apt-get or something like this, then obviously it'll be installed on this machine which I'm currently in. And I can't use apt-get since I'm in Windows, but you get the point. So now what I could do is install this extension nodes Docker. There are other ways to like get started with this, but this is pretty much the easiest way and the way which I'm familiar with. So install this, and you'll be able to get something like this over here. Let me see where Docker is. It should be somewhere over here. Okay. So now, if my daemon is running successfully, you'll be able to create something known as a dev container. So if I'm in this folder, I go over here, just click on plus, and go to open current folder in container. Okay. And from here, make sure that you choose Ubuntu. Don't choose any of these because try to keep your solutions, you try to keep your development environment as identical as it is possible to the runners. Choose Ubuntu. I'm not actually sure what these two are, but I'm pretty sure that one of these will be enough. And if you need to add any additional dependencies, add them over here. Add them as required. You don't need to worry about this at this particular time. And go over here and give it some time. And what will be happening is that a Docker container will be created. And if I go over here, you'll be able to see, give it some time, it's still starting. Okay, here we go. So whatever you do inside this, it will actually happen inside this container. So say that if you install a dependency inside this, it'll be actually installed inside this container. It will not be installed inside your machine. So that is one thing which you could use if you need to keep your system clean. And the other thing is that network bandwidth. So certain questions, they might require you to like use a little bit of bandwidth, maybe around 2 GB, 3 GB. It is possible. So if you do not wish to consume your own bandwidth, you have one solution, actually one solution which I'm aware of. So what you could do is, GitHub has something called code spaces. So if let me just create a code space in this same repo which I'm in. But like I told you, in the initial, as soon as I started, I told you like create a repo and work within that repo. So this is one advantage you get if you work within a repository. So you'll be able to create a code space in that repository. And let me just delete this existing one. I don't need it. And here we go. It'll be basically, it's something like you'll be renting a machine temporarily on the cloud, and you can do whatever you want inside there. And one advantage of this as well, other than a dev container, which you might prefer using Docker, is that the environment which you get over here, since it is running inside GitHub, it'll be identical to the environment where the tests are being run. So this is Ubuntu, and this is Ubuntu as well. So it might be a little bit preferable for you to use this. And if you download something this over here, it will be not consuming your bandwidth. It will be consuming the bandwidth from the GitHub service. So make sure that if you need it, use it, because it can save you a little bit of time. Because if you try and download certain questions with certain libraries which are like huge, then it might waste your time a little bit. Okay, so this is I don't think I'll need to demonstrate this much. This is basically Linux environment, and whatever you're familiar with, you can do it over here. Okay, what else do we have? One thing I missed out on was that, remember that I told that there were two steps which are being executed over here. The first thing is that the solution which you write will be executed, and the tests which we have been predefined to be executed. So in certain cases, like I'll give you one brief example, just keep this in mind. If you set an environment variable in your script, that environment variable will not be available in this particular step because there are two different steps. So you need to find a workaround for those. There are workarounds, but this is just to give you a heads up. So certain scenarios like that, just make sure that some things which you might think will work, it might not work in this particular scenario. So keep that in mind. What else? Yes, let me see if we have any questions. All right. Okay. What else do we have? I think I covered pretty much everything. Sairu, did I miss anything by any chance?
Uh, no, Akalanka. I think you covered most of it
All right
of
then.
the platform. Uh, yeah. So maybe now we can move on to the Q&A session. Maybe. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So we have got some questions in the YouTube comment section, and also we have some FNQ, FNAs, FNQ, Q&A, FAQs, sorry, frequently asked questions from our previous session on the awareness session. So, right. So, Mantila Valgamage has asked, okay, why your questions are like Shakespearean? Hello, I think you are referring to the
Before, like,
question
questions
challenges.
can come in
Yeah,
various formats, and
yeah.
it's just to add a little bit of fun to the competition.
Yeah, I mean, the questions are a bit difficult, but we need to make it fun. So, yeah, I think you're referring to the sample questions on the platform, Vandita.
Yeah, you'll be able
So,
to. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead, Akmal.
Now, what I was saying was, I saw another question raised in the chat. I was going to answer it. So, can we join to the platform to do these test questions? Yes. So, as of now, from 7 p.m. today, 30 minutes has already passed, but from now to 7 p.m. tomorrow, this platform will be open, and you'll be able to try out these 4 sample questions, and you can basically do whatever you want using the platform. Yeah.
All right. So we have another question. Dilanta Vijay Singh has asked, will the recording of this video be put up somewhere? So yes, Dilanta, since this is a YouTube live stream, so after the live stream is over, you can view it at your ease on our YouTube channel, Slitfoss. So yeah, you can check it out after the live stream ends. Uh, yeah. Hold on. Do we have any more? We have.
Let me actually, in the meantime, let me rack my brain and see if I missed out something. I'm pretty sure
Okay.
I missed something. I can't remember what I missed.
Colonel Paradigm has said they are cooking art. That's how. I think that's a reply to the Shakespearean question. Okay, nice. So yeah, we are in fact cooking art. So yeah, thank you, Colonel. Um, yes, the Wild Hunt. Yes. Um, we have another question from I am Tracy. Can we also join the platform to do these test questions?
Yeah, I think I answered it just a while ago.
Yeah, yeah. My
So
apologies.
yes, you could join. So the same account which you joined with, registered your team with, you'll be able to log in using that, and you'll be able to try out these questions. And after 7 p.m. today, we'll be reaching to the leaderboard. Just make sure that keep that in mind as well.
Right.
And let me just actually reset the leaderboard while I'm at it.
We have another question, Clunker. So yeah,
Okay, give
tips
me a
on
minute. All
using
right.
WSL in
Okay,
disadvantages.
so using WSL, I can't say that I don't really work with WSL. I'm on a Windows platform, obviously, and I'm not much of a Linux user, but it will basically give you a fully emulated environment of Linux within your machine. But I'm pretty sure that it might have certain limitations. But so far, like once we actually making the questions and actually writing the solutions for them, then we didn't come across any problems. So I'm pretty sure that WSL will be pretty much enough for you to work with. But there can be certain limitations, and the thing is that I am at this point of time I can't like point out this limitation to be there. 9 numbers of the time, I'm pretty sure that it will be more than enough.
Right. We got a similar answer to that from Safnaj. WSL gives you a Linux platform inside your Windows operating system. So thank you, Safnaj, for that. We
One
have another
thing
question.
which I could
Yes.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. One thing which I could say is the WSL. It's like really slow. It's damn slow. So if you're okay with that, then yeah, you're welcome to use it.
I think we something that you need to take into mind here is the time aspect here as well. So we have time constraint there. So you have to take time into the
I will
equation.
suggest code
So
spaces over WSL because it's pretty much really fast over WSL.
right, okay. So a small tip for you guys there. Yeah, we have Manit Mara Perova. When will the competition gonna start? I mean the time.
I don't think we haven't actually decided the exact time frame, but it'll be in the morning. It'll be before 12 p.m. 12 p.m. No, 12 p.m. on the 7th. It'll be in the morning, and it'll
Yes,
be on the 7th for sure.
yes. Mm, yeah. And we have another question from Quintus Joyal. Is .awk files allowed?
Actually, I don't know what .awk is, so I can't answer that.
.awk. All right. Hold on. Do we have any
Let me just
questions?
actually Google it. Okay. No. All right. What else do you have?
Hold on. Let's Google what awk file means. Uh, oh
Okay,
wait.
it's a domain-specific programming language for text processing. Okay.
Let the basic function of
Yeah.
awk.
AWK is a command, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure it works inside Ubuntu, so you could use it.
Yeah. So it's a script file created for the text processing application, AWK, that comes bundled with Unix and Linux OS. So something that we also learned right now. So thank you for that, Joel.
Okay.
You learn something new every day. So thank you for that, guys. Um, we have Tharmapalan from the University of Ruhuna Engineering Faculty. Hi, Tharmapalan. Glad to see you here. So yeah, keep those questions coming in, guys. Till we have. Oh, we have another one. Oops. What are
All
the
right.
concepts that we need to compete this competition?
Okay, so the concepts they span across a wide range, and obviously the first thing which you'll need is pure bash. And obviously, if you're okay with pure bash, then you'll be able to get most of the questions solved. But other than that, obviously you'll need Docker, which is why the initial sessions they had Docker in them. For example, you might need to like spin up certain Docker containers, build Docker images, just there could be certain use cases where you need Docker. Not actually, there will be. Okay, so make sure that you're familiar with it. And let me see what else. You might need to be familiar with certain tools like Nginx, because you might need to set up certain servers within these containers. And what else? Yeah, so most of the questions they'll be limited to Bash only, and you'll obviously be using only Bash for this. But there are certain questions where you can use any programming language of your choice. Maybe it could be Python, it could be JavaScript, it could be whatever you want. And make sure that if you're adding any additional dependencies, for example, if you need to use Python, you need to make sure that you install Python. We won't be doing that for you. You need to install it yourself within your script, and then you can use it. So whatever dependencies you need, if they are not within the constraints, if they're allowed, then you can use it. And like I told last time, if you get the test to pass in whatever possible way, then yes, you're good to go, because the rankings leaderboard will be final. If you get the score, then yeah, you get the score.
Yeah, and also something to add, like there might be certain challenges where we have told you guys, okay, use this, and in that cases you might have to use, if we have specifically said, okay, you must use bash or something like that, you must use bash. But in other cases, I think you are free to choose whatever you can, right, Akalanka? Correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
And the other thing
So
is that
in
it's certain questions they're limited to the character limit of your solution. So you need to make sure that whatever you write it in the shortest way possible. Just a few of the questions.
Yeah, right. Okay. So we have another question from Tharmabalan. Uh, can you please arrange the competition on 7th after 12 a.m. because we have exam on that day. It will end on 12 p.m. October 7th. We will try our best, Tharmapalan. We have certain limitations as well, but we'll consider them, and we will keep you guys informed. We hope you have registered as a team for this competition. We have added you guys all to a specific channel, communication channel. So in the channel, we will keep you guys updated on any sort of updates in the dates or time if there are any. So yes, we'll keep you posted. Yeah. So I think we don't have any new questions. Till we have any new questions, I'll go through some of the FAQs we actually previously got on our NS session, which we thought were like some common things which you guys have in your mind. So I'll quickly go through them. Maybe Akalaka can answer them for me.
Okay.
So yeah, can graduates participate in the competition? Uh,
Unfortunately, no, because
yes,
as the title says, it's an inter-university competition, and obviously, if you're graduated, then you can't.
yeah. So graduates can't participate. We are very sorry for that. So will I be able to view the submission requirements during the competition? For example, submission file sizes. So good question, that one.
Submission file sizes. So when it comes to file sizes, actually, there's just an upper bound. It is 25 MB, and there are no lower bounds. And all of the submissions which you make, it should be less than 25 MB. And if it is, then you're good.
Okay.
Was that
There is
the
no.
question? Because I wasn't like sure about the
Yeah,
question.
yeah. Maybe like, is there like specific file types that are
Zip
required?
files,
Zip files. Yeah.
just zip
Okay.
files.
Yes. So you should do all your submissions in zip files. Okay. So will the leaderboard get updated in real time? I'm
It will
thinking
be.
once you do a submission, yes, it will be updated in real time.
It will be. So
Okay.
you can keep an eye out. So if this icon over here turns green, it means that you got marks. And if you go to leaderboard, then your score will have risen. If this fails, then no.
Right. Okay. Akalanka, maybe you can just go through everyone here, maybe by going into detail about how to open the platform a bit, maybe once again.
Come again. I wasn't didn't actually
Maybe uh, tell us how you can open the platform again, like
I didn't mean open
get
the
into
platform.
how you can go to the platform to do your submissions.
Okay. All right. So obviously, like you'll have registered using the link at
Yeah.
portal.bashaway.org. Portal.bashaway.slitfirst.org. Okay. So
Yes.
as soon as you come over here, you'll be so yeah, you should be able to see these four questions by now. Earlier, you might have seen something like something was cooking because that was we had no questions enabled at that point. But now since there are four, you'll be able to see those four. And from here, it's the steps which I went through previously. Was
Right.
that what?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's what. Okay. Thanks, Agalank. So we have some more questions from FAQs. We have, hold on. We have one from Manith Maraperuva. Can you tell any learning sources to learn the concepts that you have mentioned?
That's a little bit difficult because I am not someone who hasn't like referred to a particular source to learn this. It has actually come with time, but let me think about it. Actually, I can't like suggest anything like a specific resource for this.
Yeah, I mean, things that cover probably Docker, Bash. I mean, scripting. We would encourage you guys to check out those sort
For
of.
basic scripting, you could try out HackerRank. So
Yeah,
that has enough and more bash questions. But the thing is, like the questions on HackerRank, they will not be identical to the questions which is here. So the idea was that HackerRank will have algorithmic problems, and it will be pretty much quite enough for you to practice your basic bash skills. But the concept which you'll need over here, it will be a little bit different. But if you do need to practice out bash, then I'd suggest HackerRank.
yeah.
For
That
Docker, I
also.
don't think I can suggest
Mm,
something like that because Docker, I haven't actually. It's actually more practice than that for me.
okay.
I'll
I mean,
actually
you.
find some
Yeah.
sources and I'll drop them in the link.
Mm,
Drop them in the group.
yeah. Sure. I mean, you always have YouTube and Google and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so you can always turn to them. And yes, that also ties with another question that I had. So, will there be some questions that were there from the last year's competition, say Bashaway 2022?
Unfortunately, no. This time,
Mm,
no questions from the previous year will be available because the formats are a little bit different. But you could actually refer them. They are published to a repository at setfirst.org. You could refer
right,
them, but just keep in mind it will be a little bit different this time.
right. Saw your friend there as well, Akalanka.
He's biting me like hell.
Okay. All right. So Code School has put a comment, something I used to learn Docker, YouTube link. So thank you, Code School, for that. Maybe you guys can check it out. So yeah, thank you guys. Keep the comments coming. Till then, I have some questions. Okay. What if I have some technical issues when using the platform? Who should I contact?
Okay, so first thing is that you might not need to contact anyone because we have alerting system set up, and as soon as you detect an issue, we'll be probably fixing it. But just in case if you come across a main blocker, just feel free to. I think we discussed that we'll be opening a open meeting link. I think it will be Google Meet or Zoom, either one of those two. But the idea is that you'll be able to join there and you'll be able to get your queries resolved.
Right. Okay. I mean, we have communication channels set up as well,
Yeah, make sure
and
that
also
you join the
yeah,
WhatsApp group.
yeah. So do that. Also, you can email us on info at info slitfoss@gmail.com. So if you guys have any questions, regarding the competition or any technical issues that you guys have come across, please let us know. We'll respond to them as early as we can. So yeah, can I form teams with two or more universities? Well, unfortunately, no. So since this is a inter-university competition, almost all, usually in all inter-university competitions, those are in the university, right? So you should form teams within your university. So let's take one from Slit and Monotour. So you can't. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have friends in Monotour as well. You're from Slit, but unfortunately, you can't form teams between two universities. So it has to be within one university. So is it necessary to have four members to register for the competition? Akalanka?
Not really. So even if
Yeah,
you're one, then yeah, more than enough.
yeah. So I mean, it we encourage you guys to get together with your friends and join this competition. But if you are willing to take this challenge single-handedly, we are more than welcome for you guys. You can uh, register as a single person, as a team, as per one person for the competition. So all right. What if my submission is over the time constraint?
Then your test will fail and you won't be getting any marks. Simple as that.
Okay. Anyways, like maybe if we talk about that a bit, like, anyways, we can try to improve that. Uh, let's say we do a submission first, and the time constraint is there, and we can always do another submission, right?
Yeah, that is possible.
Yeah,
So you
that
can
is
make
possible.
as many submissions as you want. There is no limit.
Right. Yeah.
The limit is on the submission itself, the on one single submission. So if that fails, then you can actually do whatever modification you want and then make another submission.
Right. Let's say I
And
do. Yeah.
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Now, what I was saying was that just in case, like if there are multiple submissions, and let's say the first submission you got marks for that,
Mm.
but the second submission it failed. So even if the second one fails, the first one will be considered for this. So the submission with the highest mark will be considered for your final score. So you don't need to worry even if the latest ones fails.
Right. So let's say I do five submissions. Will that affect the points that I receive? I mean, will the points be low if I do five submissions rather
No,
than, let's say, I do three? So that submission amount is not getting counted into effect.
yeah, it doesn't affect your points in any way.
Right. That's great. Okay. So, yeah, I think we covered this. Are there any specific languages you recommend to use? I think, yeah, maybe you can elaborate on that a bit, Apalanka.
I would say obviously you'll need Bash, you'll need JavaScript. Most of the cases you'll need JavaScript, and I would say Python might be helpful. There are a couple of things which Python might be a little bit useful for you, and other than that, I don't think you'll be needing anything else. But if you do need it, and if you have allowed it, then you can use it.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, will there be manual marking of submissions, or is it entirely automated?
The platform actually supports manual marking, but this time everything will be automated. So
Right.
last time it was manual marking. So since this
Mhm.
platform is an upgrade of it, feature is still there, but this time it is automated.
Right. Okay. Uh, let's say there is no like tree correction or something like that, right? Of points
Yeah, no
after the
correction.
okay, so good to know. Get these things cleared out in the front. So, yeah, is it mandatory to attend the stage two competition physically?
Yes, you will need
Yes,
to
it's
come
mandatory.
physically.
Yeah. So most likely it will be on campus at this Slit University in Malawi. So uh, let you guys know on the date and time precisely. So get ready to come to the final round physically. So yes, will we be given marks for code quality?
No, you will not be marked on code quality.
Right.
So,
Okay.
like I told you, get the test to pass, and that's all you need.
That's all you need. Okay.
But
Uh,
we recommend,
mm,
like, if it is possible, write it as clean as possible, but
mm,
it's not actually required.
right. Okay. Just a question that I got into my mind. Let's say we do a submission within an hour, right?
Okay.
And it's a correct submission, right? And I do another team does the same submission in like 3 hours
Mm.
after the question has been posted. Will that time there will affect how much points that team receives? Like the team that put in 1 hour gets this amount of points. The team that put in 3 hours after that question gets a much lesser amount of points. Is that something like that? Or
No, the points which you see on the question, that is the points which you'll be getting. So, for example,
right,
if you see 50 over here, you'll be getting 50.
you just need to get the test to pass. Once you
Yeah.
get that, it's all good. Okay, great. So, will time be taken to run the pipeline out of the allocated time? I think you mentioned about this as well. Maybe you can.
I didn't get that question.
Will time be taken to run the pipeline out of the allocated time?
What do you mean time will be taken to run the pipeline?
I think what you mean is like uh, we have we have allocated some time. I think you showed 20
5
seconds.
minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes and
Okay.
some amount of 20 seconds or something, 30 seconds. I
Okay,
can't
so
remember.
that is the time which will take for the runner to be
Yeah,
initialized.
for the runner. Will that be counted in for the time constraint?
No, that will be not counted. So that
That
initialization time, it's not actually controlled by us. It is controlled by GitHub, and it's
Mhm.
actually like it can change from time to time, and it will not be counted.
Right. Okay. Okay. This is also a good question. Can we use generative AI tools such as ChatGPT for the challenges?
Yeah, you could use it. Like, so there's a catch. You can use it only in the first round. In the second round, you can't use it. So
Second round,
first round, you can use
we,
whatever you want.
yeah. Second round, we will be monitoring you guys very strictly. But since the first round is, sort of virtual, there is no way we can monitor you guys. But we would, to make this a fair competition, we would encourage you guys to, do this in a fair way. I would say don't use these AI tools because you won't learn anything at the end of the day. So it's all about tackling these challenges as a team on your own. I mean, we haven't said no to this, but we also don't actually encourage it. So yeah, so what we basically state is don't use ChatGPT. Uh, yeah. Mm, we have another question. Is GitHub code spaces free? Should we be in a waiting list?
I think it was free. I can't really remember. I think it should be free by now. I'm not really sure when's. Yeah, it should be free.
Should
It
be
should be
free.
free. I mean, like, if it is a private account which you're using, if it is a private repository which you're in, then it will have a certain limit. But if it is a public repository, then it won't have limits. But obviously, don't make your repositories public. Make them private if you're working if you're
Right.
working in repositories.
Okay. So Mantal has said Shakespearean
You got the
Shakespearean
point.
questions will mess you up when using ChatGPT. Yes. So that's you see that's why we you know put Shakespearean questions. Right. So okay. Akalanka AI will be there, so it's hard to pass him. Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely hard to pass him. So yeah, I think that concludes the FAQ that we basically had on the awareness session and that we have prepared for you guys. I mean, if you have any questions, we can give you like 2 minutes for that. You can drop them on the comment section. We are more than happy to answer them for you. And even if you have any further questions, you can ask them in the WhatsApp channel. that we have created. Please make sure to join that, by the way. And also you can email us at info@gmail.com. That's infosliitfoss@gmail.com. So please make sure to reach us if you have any questions, because we understand this competition is different. This is not something that you guys usually see in Sri Lanka. So I'm sure you guys, we are all sure that you guys have specific questions when it comes to these sort of competitions. So that is one of the reasons why we are having a Q&A session specifically for this. So we just want to answer your questions. So we'll give you guys 2 minutes. If you have any questions, you can let us know. Thanks.
What makes you think that I missed something? I couldn't actually get anything. Things should be good from my side as well.
I think you covered platform, right?
Yeah, you
Or,
did need to set up MySQL. So whatever is not given within the script, you need to set it up. So there are
hmm.
certain questions like there are a little bit of steps which have been done for you within the execute.sh file which we give. But if it is not there, then you need to set it up.
Mhm. Just a reminder for those who want to register, we still have the deadline at 12 p.m. today. We will send the registration link right now. So if you have any friends who are interested in registering for this competition, please send this link to them and make sure that they also registered. So we have some good numbers in already. So over 300 participants, over 100 teams registered as of right now, and over 17 universities. So those are some really great numbers. So we just want to, get more people in and spread the word that this is what we as a free and open source software community can do once we get together. So yes. Mm. Akalanka, shall we show the dashboard for them for a bit, maybe?
Sure.
I think did you? I think you showed it, right? Maybe.
I showed it once at the first.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that
Yeah, you
people have
showed.
submitted actually. Three teams have already submitted.
Oh, we
Nice.
have. Nice.
Feasible?
Okay. I think we have got some more teams in as well. Two teams have registered
Okay.
the last time. Okay. So that's great. So yeah, Shadow Garden. Okay.
All right then.
uh we can give 1 more minute for questions.
Let's see.
Yes, so Safnaj, it's amazing to see how much Slitforce has grown. So thank you, Safnaj. Yes, as a community, this is what we also want to see. A great fast community within Sri Lanka. We just want to, spread awareness. Okay, there is this something called FOSS, which isn't normally heard, but this is what we can do once we have a great community, the impact that we can have. So this is something that we as lovers of open source software have done. So we are really hoping you guys to get a grasp of this and have a really great competition ahead. So I think we haven't got any questions yet. So yes, we would like to end this session. So feel free to reach us on WhatsApp or email. We have sent this to the comment section as well, and also you can view this recording after this live stream ends on YouTube on our YouTube channel. So yes, on behalf of Slit Course community, I would like to wish all the registered teams and the participants all the very best on the competition ahead. And don't use ChatGPT for the questions. With that thought, thank you, Akalanka, for helping me with this Q&A session. Yes,
Thank
maybe
you
you
as
would
well,
like to add
sir.
in.
Yeah, so nothing much, just same as you. Wish you all the luck for the competition coming up ahead. Just have a blast.
Awesome. Okay. So thank you very much for staying, guys. Have a great night. Thank you. Bye.